Welcome, everybody. Rabbi Mark Soloway. And just found out the other day that Rachel had requested that I officiate. So here I am, an honor, but a very sad honor, obviously. Very, very sad loss. Rachel lived in Colorado a long time. And one of the things that those of us who live here appreciate every day are the mountains, Harim. And so we're going to open with singing and reading Psalm 121, which says, I lift up my eyes to the mountains, from where does my help come? And knowing that those mountains, whatever we believe or don't believe, there's something about those mountains that give us a source of strength and comfort when life feels so hard. שיר המעלות אשא אל ההרים, מאין יבוא עזרי. עזרי מעם אדוני, עושה שמיים וארץ. אל יתן למות רגליך, אל ינום שומרך. הנה לא ינום ולא ישן, שומע ישראל. אדוני שומרך, אדוני צילך על יד ימינך. יומם השמש לא יכך וירח בלילה. אדוני ישמורך מכל רע, ישמור את נפשך. אדוני ישמור צאתך ובואך, מעתה ועד עולם. If you'd like to, if you're comfortable, please feel free to join me in reading the English of this psalm together on these sheets that says chapter 121 on the top. Thank you, Jim, for handing them out. A song for ascents. I shall raise my eyes to the mountains. From where will my help come? My help is from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. God will not allow your foot to falter, your guardian will not slumber. Behold, the guardian of Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is your guardian, the Lord is your shadow by your right hand. By day the sun will not smite you, nor the moon at night. The Lord will guard you from all evil. God will guard your soul. God will guard your going out and your coming in from now unto eternity. There was a famous rabbi called Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, who had 5 really important students. And one day he sent them out into the world and he said, go out and observe which is the best way for a human being to live their life, what a person should really cleave to in their life. So the first student, Rabbi Eliezer, comes back and he says, Ayin Tovah, a good eye. And then Rabbi Joshua comes back and he says, Chaver Tov, having a good friend. And then Rabbi Yossi said, Shachen Tov, having a good neighbor. And then Rabbi Shimon says, Haroeh et hanolad, someone who is able to see the consequences of their action. And then finally, Rabbi Elazar ben Arach comes back and he says, Lev Tov, having a good heart. And Rabbi Yochanan said to them, to all of the students, you know, I prefer the words of Rabbi Elazar ben Arach, who said, Lev Tov, a good heart, because in his words, all of the other words are included. Lev Tov, a good heart. Rachel Maves had a really good heart, a really big heart as a lover and a carer of people, so often putting others before herself, especially her family. And the image that Randy shared in that obituary of each of her 3 grandchildren loving to sleep on their doting grandmother's chest, just above her heart, is so powerful and moving. Rachel's Lev Tov, her good, kind, generous heart encompassed almost everything else in her world. Her beating heart was the hub of the family that kept everyone together and kept everyone connected in all those gatherings, especially around the Jewish holidays. Joe adored his sister and she adored him back. And for almost 70 years, they've been partners in crime who could never find anything wrong with each other. Where is Joe? Oh, sorry. Partners in crime is how Joe described their relationship. Just that ability to just only see the good in each other that you had all those years. And Rachel followed Joe out here to Colorado when she was 20. And apart from a brief stint in Florida, she's been here ever since, raising her family here, making lifelong friendships. And Carol and Rachel never referred to one another as sisters-in-law. They were simply sisters. And they really were sisters all the way, as I even got to experience when they drove and cooked and set up camp when I was part of a Team Secor mountain biking adventure in Moab in 2005. They were an amazing team with generous and delicious support all the way. You remember that, Randy? Rachel made friends really easily and was usually the life of the party and would always show up for family events. She was the first person to hop on a plane to be there. She was the ultimate people person. She was easy and forgiving and did not get upset with people, unlike many of us. And Rachel, along with some of you here, was a founding member of B'nai Torah, a community in Westminster that she gave so much of her life to, and some of you raised your kids together in that community, and it was evidently such an important and special part of her life for all of those years. As a mother and a grandmother, Rachel was so devoted and so loving. Her life was all about the kids and the grandkids. When Preston was born in 2020, Rachel flew to New York and slept for 2 months on a couch to take care of Randy and the baby. It wasn't even a question for her. No way was she going to let her daughter have a baby alone. Nathan and Randy, you had a mother who adored you, who was so proud of you, who would have done anything for you and for your kids, Leo and Adeline and Preston, and for you, Danielle. Rachel was also a beloved aunt to her 4 nieces, Ruthie and Aaron, and Tara and Tanya and their husbands. She was a great and loyal friend to so many. And her lev tov, her good heart, her beating heart, was full of love as a sister, a mother, a grandmother, an aunt, and a friend. And she will be terribly, terribly missed by so many of you. Jacob and Kitsiri, and Joe and Carol, and Nathan and Danielle, and Randy, Leo, Adeline, Preston, Ruth and Menachem, and Aaron and Tara and Taylor and Tanya and Tyler. All of you who mourn this loss, along with all of the dear friends, we wish you all strength and comfort and a chaim arukim, a long, long life. Zichrona livracha. May Rachel's memory, her good heart, and her deep love always remain with all of you as a blessing. Amen. So we're now going to hear from some of the people in the family, and I know it's going to be challenging. And as I said to you when I got here, you don't have to keep it together. We're with you, and I think Nathan and Randy are going to start us off, and then we'll hear from Joe and from Ruth and Aaron, and then we'll say another psalm together, and then we're going to open a little space for a few minutes, and if there are people here who have a story, a memory that they want to share of Rachel, we'll open the space for that.
First, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for showing their support here and coming out to help our family through this. This is just the type of gathering that my mom would have loved. That may sound strange at a funeral, but she loved it when friends and family were together. She loved parties, and she would want this to be more of a celebration than it is a funeral. I have to admit that I really hated when my mom would host a party. She was not the most organized of people, but she would go into a complete frenzy trying to get the house cleaned and ready. And she wasn't the most fun person to be around during that time. But as soon as the first guest walked in, the flip would switch, and she'd become the hostess with the mostest. Her smile would welcome everybody to the party. I knew from a very young age that I'd be a mama's boy. I could get away with just about everything. We would get into the worst arguments and fights, even the ones where I was clearly wrong, and she would come to apologize to me to make things right. This was not to say that my mom was a pushover. In fact, once she left me at Costco and decided that it'd be better for me to walk home from Costco because I just wasn't listening that day. This is what made her such a great parent. She used both her kindness and her strong will to help mold me into what I've become today as a person and a father. She knew what I loved most and would go out of her way to make me happy. In high school, she surprised me one day and took me out of school. She took me to the Rockies expansion party where I got to meet all the new players. After that point, she loved going to Rockies game, had season tickets, and enjoyed going to games even till the end. She still enjoyed watching Rockies and football games on the weekend. My mom was a very smart woman. As a child, she would offer me money to play Scrabble with her. I declined every time. I could never beat her, and I hated that game. About the only thing I could challenge her with was Jeopardy. We loved watching it together whenever we could when we were together. She was a true dog lover. Her house was known in our family as Disneyland. Our dog loved it there. She loved walking our dog and spending time with her, which led to many bad behaviors because anything goes at Disneyland. She was more than a mother. She was a mother to more than just my sister and me. All of our friends loved being at our house. She treated them as their own, force feeding them and making them feel loved as only a good New York Jewish mom can. Like everybody in this room, there was a special place in my heart, in everybody's heart, for my mom, and she will be missed by all.
She was really kind, really thankful, and loved to go to the pool with us in the beach. And she loved taking me to the museum and zoo.
Would you love playing with her?
She loved to play backgammon with me. She was really lucky with her rolls. And I feel like she passed some luck down to me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Good job, buddy.
I agree that she passed luck to Leo. We played backgammon last night and he got like 5 sets of doubles and then beat me. So thank you, everyone. I didn't get to see everyone come in, so it's good to see everyone's faces. I wrote the same beginning as my brother, which is that she would have loved to see everyone gather. She would have worked this room for sure. I taught Leo the word gregarious this morning because she was gregarious and so is he, and so am I. So I'll just kind of start. And I will not get through this, and I'm going to be a mess, so please bear with me during the hard parts. Rachel Maves was a spitfire, a woman of vibrant personality and energy. I didn't know her in her 20s and 30s, besides her just being my mom, but I've heard many great stories. Robert Guillot just shared one of him living with my mom and dad as roommates and when they were young here, and I just love hearing those stories this week. There are many in this room who have known her 30 or 40 years. She remained a loyal friend and knew how to connect with people. She could turn a stranger into a friend in 5 minutes, and she left an impression on people quickly. She'd always happily add an extra place at our family dinner table for our friends, as Nathan pointed out. Or she'd invite someone for a special occasion who didn't have anywhere else to go. Those parties where she was running around in a frenzy, she'd say, well, I invited so-and-so because, they didn't have anywhere to go. And I'd be like, Mom, why'd you invite them? It was just always somebody extra. While this week has been the worst week of my life, one of the bright spots is hearing the many stories about my mom. I realized that I only have my own memories, but that she created so many memories with all of you. I've heard funny stories, stories of kindness, and the many ways she left an imprint on someone she met only briefly. For example, someone from my college dance team at CU said they remembered her being at our performances and that she was cheering me on. That was over 20 years ago. That means I'm 40, yeah. And I don't even remember her being there or that happening. But it's exactly the type of mother she was. Hearing these stories, many of them funny, helps me keep her memory alive. I ask that you please share these memories, write them down, tell them to the person next to you today. Or call me in 5 years and tell me a funny story about my mom. They will help me smile in the dark times. There are many qualities and traits that I got from my mom. Some are good, some not so much. Let me list a few. My green eyes and thick hair. My love of celebrating birthdays with cakes and cards and presents. My love of potato chips. She also passed that to Leo. My chutzpah. My love of games. Unfortunately, I did not get her Scrabble skills. My love for babies and all children. Being gregarious, or talkative, as some may call it. My loud speaking tone and terrible habit of interrupting because I want to jump in and share a story. My love of cooking and feeding other people. Don't worry, we have her latke recipe. My short attention span and habit of running late. My hoarding tendencies. My love of a lazy beach and pool day spent soaking up the sun. My love of shopping, beauty products, massages, and a good bargain. In fact, I tried to remind her many times that she didn't have to tell people what she paid when they complimented her. What a beautiful sweater, Rachel. Oh, I got it on sale and I only paid $9.99. Finally, my caring nature, though I'm humble enough to know it doesn't come close to matching hers. While my mom was a hard worker, often juggling 2 jobs to help provide for us as children, she was never defined by her work. Her world was her family. It's all she cared about. But she was smart and shrewd and great with numbers. And I've often thought that my mom could have become a business executive had she wanted to, but her world was her family and her children. She balanced work and family life with fervor and energy. One thing I remember from my early childhood is her getting up and getting dressed in her business clothes and taking the RTD bus downtown to her job at AIG Insurance. She was a dynamo, working all day, then coming home and making sure we had family dinners, still finding time to sew on my Girl Scout badges or rub my back when I couldn't fall asleep. I remember going into her office building on the 16th Street Mall downtown to sell Girl Scout cookies to all of her coworkers. She encouraged me to be confident, ask for the sale, to not be afraid. She was always put together, never leaving the house without a nice outfit and her hair and makeup done. Today, when I was getting dressed, I kept thinking, would Mom approve of this? And I'm wearing her earrings And this is her diamond she gave me a few years ago. She was always put together, yes. Okay. In fact, when the cancer took her hair during the first round of chemo in 2001, and then again this past year, she still wanted to look nice. Wigs and all, she wasn't going to give up. The day she went to get her head shaved last year, she sent us all a photo from the salon. She was smiling, her big smile, as always. It could have been a day she cried, but we only saw that Rachel smile. My mom was one of the most selfless people I've ever known. She was a caregiver, never taking care of anyone who needed it, but most certainly her family. We didn't always have a lot, but we never went without. She wanted to make sure we had our karate, dance, and cello lessons. She would drive me to all my activities. I remember that she had the Tracy Chapman and Bonnie Raitt cassette tapes, hence the Tracy Chapman music today. And I know all of the songs because that's all we listened to for a few years while we drove from activity to activity. She never missed an award show, a graduation, a recital, or a performance. She was my biggest fan, encouraging me, pushing me, and she believed and told me I could do whatever I set my mind to. She was so, so proud of everything I did, from getting internships to studying abroad to going to law school and passing the bar exam. She would grin ear to ear with every accomplishment. And every time I stumbled or struggled, she was there to listen and help me pick myself up. One of the pieces of advice she gave me that has stuck with me is when I got an offer to move to San Francisco for a job promotion at 29 years old. I said to her, "What if I fail? What if it's terrible out there?" And her response was so simple and insightful. She said, "Then you turn around and you come home and I will be here. And it will be fine." I've thought about that advice many times over the past 10 years when taking a risk. And I've given that advice to others. It's okay. It's okay to fail, change your mind and go back. It provided relief that she would be here if it did not work out. Next thing I knew, we were driving across the country to San Francisco together. It was just another one of our many road trips she took with me. In fact, she flew to DC at the end of my summer internship when I was 20 years old to drive me home. She was enduring her first rounds of chemo. It was sweltering hot in DC. And then we drove to New York, where it was even hotter. And her wigs were making her miserable. And she just kept going. And we drove all the way to Denver. That was my mom. She rarely complained and took all of her treatments in stride. She wasn't a victim or a pity case. And looking back on the past 10 years, I lived far from her, but we always stayed in touch and she would fly to see me anytime she could. She came to San Francisco and took many trips to New York City. She loved seeing my career soar, and we enjoyed all the New York essentials when she would visit. A visit to the 2nd Avenue Deli for Jewish food, a Broadway show, a visit to the Oyster Bar, massages in Chinatown, some dim sum. My mom was a lover of life and experiences and was up for anything. She would happily meet all of my friends, and they all thought she was great. I look fondly on our Europe trip together for her 60th birthday, and I took her as my +1 for my winner's circle trip to Hawaii in 2019. It was her first time to Hawaii, and she was so excited. We went to a black sand beach. We rode in a helicopter, and she swam with wild dolphins in the ocean. And she absolutely loved it. Certainly one of the highlights of her life. She had a love of water and was at her happiest on a boat or at the beach. During the few years she lived in Florida, we had many lazy beach days. We play backgammon, relax, and just talk. I will miss my beach buddy. During the past 2 years, we've become the closest we've ever been. She didn't question when I told her I wanted to have a baby on my own. She was supportive from the start. Through my pregnancy, she celebrated every little milestone. She was there for me in the scary moments. Her doctor strongly advised her against coming to New York for the birth in December 2020 at the height of COVID with no vaccines. She didn't hesitate for a moment. She knew I needed her by my side. She was holding my hand during the emergency C-section. She was the first person to hold my baby. And then she slept on my couch, as we all heard. and she helped me recover and survive the newborn stage. She actually had the option to sleep at my neighbor's apartment because they were out of town for a month because of COVID. And when I would say, Mom, go sleep in the other apartment, there's a bed, she would say, no, I like being close to you in Preston. In so many ways, she stepped in where a partner otherwise would have in those early days. Walking Miles, my dog, in the cold New York mornings and nights, taking the baby from my arms at 6 a.m. and saying to me, go sleep, so I could get a couple hours of sleep uninterrupted. I'm not sure how I would have done it without my mom. I will be forever grateful for those two loving and helpful hands. I'm so glad we decided to live together upon returning to Colorado. Had you asked 18-year-old Randy, and some of my high school friends are here, so they can attest, young college friends, if I had wanted to live with my mom while I'm 40, I know that 18-year-old Randy would have rolled her eyes and said, no way. But I feel just the opposite now. I'm so lucky we had that time together. In the beginning, we had to get used to each other, but we quickly fell into a routine, taking turns cooking dinner, watching Jeopardy every night after I would put Preston to bed. She loved getting the daily daycare emails about what Preston ate for lunch, and she would laugh and said, he had 2 helpings of spaghetti today. And she would exclaim over his little achievements. The house feels so empty without her energy and voice. I already miss having her across the dinner table, getting to eat her home-cooked meals. And we miss sharing all the little moments, laughing together at our silly baby, watching a new show together, and getting a hug as I pass through the kitchen in the morning. Sorry, this is long. See, we're gregarious. Nothing in her life brought her greater joy than her grandkids. She loved each of them fiercely. She was patient and kind, taking Leo and Addie to activities, singing with them, playing games and reading to them. With Preston, she knew his every quirk and nuance, and Preston's face would light up when he saw his grandma. Her favorite thing to do was rock him to sleep. As her health declined the past few months, she wasn't really able to carry him or go up and down the stairs. But just a few weeks ago, I woke up in the morning to her holding him in the rocking chair in his room, talking to him softly. I walked in and she looked up and smiled. I knew she wanted that time with him. I will vow to make sure he knows all about her and who she was, that we watch the videos and photos of her, and that we know how deeply she loved him. Her children and her 3 grandchildren were the light of her life. My mom wasn't perfect, as Nathan attested to, and we also had some blowout fights, especially in the high school years. She could be stubborn, overbearing, pushy, messy, loud, brash, demanding, sometimes overly accommodating. But in the end, it was all part of who she was, and her good qualities outweighed the bad. She was kind, she was funny, she was joyous, and she gave the best hugs. She was the cancer patient that just a few months ago knitted over 50 washcloths, gave them out to the nurses and staff at Rocky Mountain Cancer Center in little gift bags. Yes, her good qualities certainly outweighed the bad. My mom loved to send cards. I'd like to share the words from a card my mom wrote to me, and perhaps the most touching card I've ever received. See, hoarding comes in handy. She sent it to me at the end of my pregnancy when I was alone in New York. On the front, it says, I love you, my daughter, forever, for always, and no matter what. And on the inside, and I'm happy to share it later, it has a really long verse about what it is to be a mother to a daughter. But she wrote some really special words in here. She wrote, dearest Randy, motherhood is a journey that has so many rewards. It is my legacy to the world, which means that you are my all that I give to the world. I found this card and it says it better than I can, but the feelings inside my body, mind, and heart, my love for you is infinite. Your strength, passion for education, knowledge, and zest for life will carry on with the next generation. Love, Mom. I could go on and on about my mom because the stories are endless. I hope we continue to share them and keep her memory alive. Let's all vow to bring a little bit of Rachel's spirit to our lone lives. Be friendly to a stranger, and maybe you'll make a new friend. Invite an old friend you haven't seen in a while over for dinner. Cook for them. Give them a little gift, just like Rachel would have. Be kind to someone in need and laugh and enjoy life to its fullest. I love you, Mom. I will miss you so, so deeply. And you will be in my heart, always and forever. Thank you.
Thank you for being here to memorialize my sister Rachel. Rachel would have loved to see so many loved ones together to celebrate her life. She loved family gatherings and always hosted many. Rachel was the youngest in our family, with me being the middle and Jake the oldest. We were born on Long Island and lived on the same block our entire childhood. We shared our friends and we hung out together. Rachel and I were very close. Early in our childhood, we made a pact not to tell on each other. Our parents own a hardware store. We all grew up working there. On Friday night, when we were teenagers, Rachel and I ran and closed the store ourselves. We would always get Chinese food from Kwan Ming. She loved talking to the customers. And of course, our friends would visit. When Rachel was finishing college, our parents were retiring to Florida, so she decided to follow me to Colorado. She made our first Passover Seder in Boulder. She would host many Passovers, Hanukkahs, birthday parties throughout her life. She would always make sure our families were together. Our children, Nathan, Randy, Ruth, Aaron, have always been very close. I had just met Carol when our childhood friend Stevie was getting married. When Rachel met Carol at the wedding, she knew she was the one for me, and of course she was right. Carol and Rachel were not sisters-in-laws, they were true sisters. Our families would camp, do river trips, watch the Broncos, and hang around together. Rachel loved to travel. She was the first to go to Thailand with Jake. She went to Israel twice with us. She went to Tara and Tanya's bat mitzvahs and graduations, and they were an important part of her life. I'm going to miss Rachel. I could call her anytime. We would discuss our children, work, vacations. She would always encourage me to ride and to ski. She was always available for us. The Butterfly Pavilion and the Children's Museums were always on a list to take my grandchildren. I feel she was a third of my life, and I already miss her. Thank you for the memories, Rachel. I will cherish you forever.
We'll hear from Rachel's nieces, yeah.
My Aunt Rachel is one of my favorite people in the whole world. She made me feel loved always. She loved that we looked alike. She always told me we were secret girls. No matter what, she always showed up for me, whether it was going to the movies, taking the kids to the Butterfly Pavilion, going shopping, or just schmoozing over playing games. She made sure to always be there. She even came all the way to Israel for me twice. My Aunt Rachel was so kind-hearted. I think it's why we've heard she made friends so easily, and she kept friendships. She instantly loved my husband, Menachem, and they had a really special connection. My children adore her. They'll also miss her terribly. Rachel was a really strong woman role model. She was fiercely independent, and she always did it with such grace. It never mattered how long it was between seeing each other. I always had a very, very strong bond with her and connected with her. Family for her was all about showing up, being together, and having unwavering love for each other. It didn't matter that I lived halfway around the world. Rachel had such a love for the holidays and to devoting time to spend them together as a family. We always did Passover Seders together because she pushed for it, and we always did Hanukkah parties. And I thank her to this day for her contribution to my Jewish childhood. A birthday never passed without her pulling out all of the decorations. Right now, we're in the Jewish month of Adar, and it's right before Purim. It's supposed to be a time of happiness. And while it's so hard to be happy right now, it's so special that everyone is together to celebrate her and to memorialize her. Even now, Aunt Rachel brings people together. I'm so heartbroken. It's painful to think about all the future memories that have been stolen from all of us. I miss her terribly.
Hi. Sorry. I'm keeping it together pretty good here, but this is a hard one now. I'm Erin. I'm Rachel's niece. I appreciate everyone being here and on the YouTube as well. I know that she would have loved to see all of her family, her East Coast relatives, and Fran and Rhoda, and all of her friends in Florida. Sorry. Okay. So people keep telling me that I was really special to my aunt, and she was really special to me. I can just kind of picture her on the beach right now, just in the warm sun, floating and enjoying the Florida sunshine. She loved to do. We've had some really beautiful memories together, and I want to share some of my memories with my aunt. I was really fortunate to grow up nearby Aunt Rachel and Uncle Roger, Nathan and Randy. And Aunt Rachel contributed to my Jewish life, hosting Passover Seders and Hanukkah parties. And I know not everybody loved those Seders, but I really did. And I always appreciated that she did that. She honored our traditions, and she was a connection to our family history, telling me all about our family tree and her memories of her childhood. When my grandmother Anne, her mother, moved to Colorado, we spent a lot of time visiting with her together. She went every day to visit her mother. She was the most patient and understanding, even when it was difficult during that time. She encouraged me throughout my childhood in my academic and social endeavors, and was extremely supportive of me as an adult in my work life and as a friend to me, and supportive emotionally. Oh God, that's cute. There was a time period when I got to move in with her as roommates, and it was a lot of fun for us both. We cooked and watched our shows and chatted over our evening tea. She was generous and always unconditionally there for me. She enjoyed making her favorite foods for me, like her ribs and coleslaw. And she put me to work moving furniture. She thought I was really buff. I thought she was really strong. She was courageous and bold. She opened a new chapter in her life and continued to be a vibrant, unique, and powerful woman. Aunt Rachel was my biggest fan, giving me career and workplace advice. She was professional and a very smart person who was also as shrewd as her own mother. She helped me watch my dog, Mickey, and taught me how to be a pet parent. We used to go and volunteer with the residents at her workplace. We'd go out to fireworks with Marie, visited the art museum holiday market together. Aunt Rachel was a bright, exuberant person. She was so fun to be with, as her loving friends know. She had a women's circle that she enjoyed sharing holidays and birthdays with, and she had a gift for gift giving. She showed her love expressively and outwardly with time and gifts, touch and words. There was a free flow of love for her that was unlimited. She was playful. She had a glimmer in her eyes and a beautiful smile. We liked to scheme together. She was full of ideas and plans. She was clever. I'm so sad that we are not able to continue spending time together, and I will miss her tremendously. She was very adventurous. She loved to travel, and recently we went to Thailand together. I'll always remember her. And sorry. I'll remember her when I water my blooming Christmas cactus, which is probably 50 or 60 years old now. When I fry up latkes in oil, she'll be with me, teaching me how to trim landscaping. And when I go out for Chinese. And most importantly, I will continue to heal and build relationships. She knew how to do so well, so forgiving and so gracefully. I have an image of Aunt Rachel excitedly telling me her thoughts, dancing in high heels as we packed up her home in Florida. She said, I'm gonna wear these shoes now while we move, and she wore them all day long. She was so full of wonder and energy. I will remember her riding in an ox cart in Thailand and exploring the world with fervor. This was my loving aunt. I love you, Aunt Rachel. May you be at peace and ease. You will always be with me, and your legacy lives on.
Wow. Thank you all for sharing so generously and movingly this amazing person that I obviously did not know in such a deep way, but just to get a little more of a sense of what a special, special, loving human being Rachel Maves was. And as Randy said, I think, you know, having been through this, so important to continue to hear the stories. And if you feel moved to write to Randy and Nathan and or pick up the phone and share a story, it's so meaningful in the days and weeks and months ahead. It's a long journey, the morning journey, and we wish you all a lot of strength. I'm going to sing Psalm 23 now, and then if anyone who would like to can join in reading the English of it. And then if there are some of Rachel's friends who are here, or anyone who just wants to share a little memory, we'll have a few minutes to do that before we conclude our service with a memorial prayer. Mizmor David, Adonai roi lo echsa, Bihinat asher yabitzeni, על מי מנוחות ינחלני, נפשי ישובב, נפשי ישובב, ינחני במעגלי צדק, למען שמו. גם כי אלך בגיא המוות, לא אירא רע, כי אתה עמדי, שבטך ומשענתך, שבטך ומשענתך, המה ינחמוני, תערוך לפני שולחן, תערוך לפני שולחן, תערוך לפני שולחן, נגד צורריי, דשנת בשמן ראשי, דשנת בשמן ראשי, דשנת בשמן ראשי, כוסי רוויה, אך טוב בחסד, ידפוני כל ימי חיי, ושבתי בבית אדוני, ושבתי בבית אדוני, לאורך ימים, ינני ני ני ני, ינני ני ני ני, ינני ני 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 ני, ינני ני ני ני, ינני ני ני ני, ינני ני. If you'd like to join me in reading the translation of that on these sheets here, Psalm 23. God is my shepherd, I shall not want. God makes me lie down in green pastures, leads me beside still waters, and restores my soul. You lead me in right paths for the sake of your name. Even when I walk in the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You have set a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You have anointed my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of God forever. So at this point, if anybody feels moved to come up and share a few words. No? As I say, we can save the words for sharing with family at another time. And when we say the traditional blessings, Zichrona Livracha, may her memory be a blessing, it feels like with so much of what has been shared today, it really is a blessing to hear the incredible legacy. Rachel, you've left an amazing legacy of love and courage and strength and fun and adventure, and you will be sorely missed. But your love lives on in the hearts of those whose lives you have touched through all of your incredible qualities. And may you rest in peace, and may your memory inspire those of us who cherish the times that we had with you. I'm going to conclude the service with the traditional memorial prayer, El Malay Rachamim. If it's easy for you, I invite you to rise for this. El Malay Rachamim, Shochein Bamramim, Ametzei Menucha Nochona, Tachat Kanfei Hashchina, B'malot Kedoshim Utohorim, Kazoha Harakia, Mazhirim. Et nishmat Rachel bat Gershon Leib v'Chana shehalcha le'olama b'gan Eden tehei menuchata ana ba'ala rachamim hastireha b'sete kanafecha le'olamim. Utsaro b'tzaro hachayim et nishmatach Adonai hu nachalatach v'tanuach b'shalom al mishkavaha v'noma Amen. Exalted, compassionate God, grant infinite rest in your sheltering presence among the holy and the pure, to the soul of Rachel Maves, Rachel, Bat-Besh, daughter of Gershon Leib, Hannah, who has gone to her eternal home. Merciful One, we ask that our loved one find perfect peace in your eternal embrace. May her soul be bound up in the bond of life. May she rest in peace. And let us say, Amen. Well, that concludes our service. I know there's some food and people can hang around and celebrate Rachel's life as she would have wanted. And as has been said, don't know, was there any discussion about if people feel moved to make a donation in her memory? Where did it's been sent out? Okay. All right, fine. So there is a tradition, as we know, to make a charitable donation in the memory of loved ones. So some of you will have that information about where the family would like those donations directed. And again, we wish you, the mourners, just a lot of strength and comfort and peace. And may Rachel's memory be a blessing.
If you wait for me, then I'll come for you. Although I've traveled far, I always hold a place for you in my heart. If you think of me, if you miss me once in a while, then I'll return to you. I your kiss, your warm embrace, I'll find my way back to you if you'll be waiting. If you dream of me like I dream of you, in a place that's warm and dark, in a place where I can feel the beating of your heart. Remembering your touch, your kiss, your warm embrace, I'll find my way back to you if you'll be waiting. Oh, I longed for you, and I have desired to see your face, your smile, to be with you wherever you are. Remembering your touch, your kiss, your warm embrace, I'll find my way back to you. Please say you'll be waiting. Together again, it would feel so good to be in your arms, where all my journeys end. You can make a promise, if it's one that you can keep, I vow to come for you if you wait for me. And say you'll hold a place for me in your heart, a place for me in your heart, a place for me in your heart, a place for me in your heart.
Would you know my name if I saw you in heaven? Would it be the same if I saw you in heaven? I must be strong and carry on, 'cause I know I don't belong here in heaven.
when the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light we see. No, I won't be afraid. No, I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by me. Oh, darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. If the sky we look upon should tumble and fall, or the mountains should crumble to the sea, I won't cry, I won't cry, no, I won't shed a tear. Just as long as you stand by me. Oh, darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Whenever you're in trouble, you just stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Whenever you're in trouble, you just stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Stand by me. Oh, darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me, stand by me, stand by me, stand by me.
Just yesterday morning, they let me know you were gone. Suzanne, the plans they made put an end to you. I walked out this morning and I wrote down this song. I just can't remember who to send it to. I've seen fire and I've seen rain. I've seen sunny days that I thought would never end. I've seen lonely times when I could not find a friend. But I always thought that I'd see you again. Won't you look down upon me, Jesus? You gotta help me make a stand. Just got to see me through another day. My body's aching and my time is at hand. I won't make it any other way. Whoa, I've seen fire and I've seen rain, seen sunny days that I thought would never end. I've seen lonely times when I could not find a friend, but I always thought that I'd see you again. Been walking my mind to an easy time, my back turned towards the sun. Lord knows when the cold wind blows, it'll turn your head around. Well, there's hours of time on the telephone line to talk about things to come, sweet dreams and flying machines in pieces on the ground. Whoa, I've seen fire and I've seen rain, I've seen sunny days that I thought would never end. I've seen lonely times when I could not find a friend, but I always thought that I'd see you, baby, one more time again now. Thought I'd see you one more time again. There's just a few things coming my way this time around now. Thought I'd see you, thought I'd see you right now.
So far away, doesn't anybody stay in one place anymore? It would be so fine to see your face at my door. It doesn't help to know you're just time away. Long ago I reached for you and there you stood. Holding you again could only do me good. How I wish I could, but you're so far away. One more song about moving along the highway. Can't say much of anything that's new. If I could only work this life out my way, I'd rather spend it being close to you, but you're so far away. Doesn't anybody stay in one place anymore? It would be so fine to see your face at my door. Doesn't help to know you're so far away. Yeah, you're so far away. Traveling around sure gets me down and lonely. Nothing else to do but close my mind. I sure hope the road don't come to own me. There's so many dreams I've yet to find, but you're so far away. Doesn't anybody stay in one place anymore? It would be so fine to see your face at my door, and it doesn't help to know you're so far